What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Rootz. So I'm going to review a custom mixtape by Truth of 9lives. Basically this project is called Igot9lives and it was supposed to come out somewhere throughout 2011 or the first half of 2012. So basically I'm creating this particular mixtape here just based upon the after effects of the fact that Truth from 9lives never really dropped an official product as far as this fair is going to happen. Now you can find a get-up of some of his songs that he did that had Deuce affiliation with them that he was kind of on featured haphazardly, like either on like the hook or just like a verse sparingly, something like that. But Truth was on the Call Me Big Deuce mixtape from late 2011 quite a bit, and was actually, that feels more of like almost like damn near like a Truth project more so than Full Bound Deuce. It's kind of miniature, like that particular product, the Call Me Big Deuce mixtape was kind of miniaturely like a that particular project, like the Call Me Big Deuce mixtape, was kind of miniaturely like a 9lives mixtape as far as this person having a lot of group appeals on that particular aspect, but basically like a pretty much within the aspect of just being a Deuce full bound type product. But nowadays, past like probably about 2022 or so, I'd say that the pitch behind it is that particular mixtape's kind of tough to nab. It's not as commonly available really for much of download within pitches like that, so I would definitely scoop up that particular mixtape while you still can, because there's been some things that I feel like Deuce's Spotify and iTunes and pitches like that have been kind of hacked. Deuce himself is kind of hooked on Scientology, some of that particular type feels. Deuce himself is kind of hooked on like Scientology, some of that particular type fare, so he's kind of in limbo nowadays. But basically something within the affiliation, not really as full bound sure what got into Deuce's official accounts, but there's some products that have been floating around like they did release Call Me Big Deuce. It's like an EP. It was a 14-song mixtape, but they shortened it. So there's just some pitches like that. There's like a product he did with the folk that I'm going to review. I'm basically going to get back to Deuce because there is kind of a smattering of new Deuce projects. Some of them official that I didn't cover back in 2022, 2023. Some of them are kind of more like ones that were kind of haphazardly tacked together, but I look with it, at least the ones that are going to have some degree of quality, or we'll review those. But Truth himself never dropped a product, so I wanted to throw together some products that were kind of floating around on YouTube to kind of review as like a custom mixtape. And I look after it here. The main problem with it is the sheer number of Truth songs that are kind of floating around nowadays is very minimal. So the only two songs I was able to find that are not on some other Truth or 9lives type product, which really there aren't any real 9lives products really floating around anymore. The MySpace songs from those particular eras of 2010, 2011, 2012 have since vanished. MySpace lost all its songs back in those days, so it's pretty much damn near impossible unless you had those songs back then to really have. But at least two songs I was able to find that still happen to have some officialness that Truth and Deuce actually did, but it's just in the concept they just don't have a home body of work, would be the song So Far and then the song Night and Day. So Night and Day is basically just a remix, kind of freestyle type in this custom song to Nelly Furtado's Say It Right, it had Say from her Loose album from 2006. And then So Far, this is a real highlight of a song within a pitch, just a good constant. Don't know where this particular song was held for. It's just kind of a pitch that this is like a spare Truth song that doesn't have any home body that's really particularly mounted to as far as this pitch can happen. So it makes me question how many other of those types of songs. I want to say Truth probably had a series of these. Don't know really is full bound the information on Truth just because he departed the music industry after he got arrested in 2012. If you didn't know, Truth and 9lives got arrested in the summer of 2012, and then that was like a breaking point for him, and he just never came back to music. He abandoned Deuce and 9lives and all that particular type of stuff. So everything he was working on prior to that just kind of went up in smoke and never was to happen again. It's just kind of within the pitch, but at least some of these type of songs are still floating around. So basically this 2-song mixtape here, I'm going to give like pretty much like a 9.5 out of 10. I created a custom artwork for it. It has pretty good, the particular artwork has a pretty cold as ice actual official picture by Deuce and 9lives as far as this person happened. It just feels just because the highlighted people that you see in that picture would be Deuce and to a lesser extent kind of Truth. It just feels like possibly that this was some sort of promotion just for what Truth was originally going to do back in like the early 2010s. But it's a good type picture to be able to get that here. So Truth never really dropped any sort of product on his own. He was mainly just Deuce's wingman and affiliate, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying that these two songs that he had, according to what he was working on, show some particular type fare. But one last thing, if you go to Truth's old MySpace from like the 2010s, on some of his songs it says that he had like a mixtape that he was going to call Igot9lives Coming Soon. That's really all it said. Just on some of the songs, like some of the ones that wound up on like the Deuce mixtape, like I want to say some of these like Set It Off or Who We Are. I don't remember which specific ones were on Truth's MySpace, but just in the description of those songs it said I Got Lives the particular description of those songs that said Igot9lives mixtape coming soon. So I'm just going to put that particular product that was originally going to come out by Truth but never did, and just have it be these two brief songs. It's too bad there's not more Truth songs floating around. Now I've noticed within some particular aspects that there are some 9lives songs that were kind of privatized. I don't know if there actually are. It's either the concept that there's some 9lives songs that are privatized that are with the particular group, or some of these might be Truth songs, not really as full bound, but at least with the available ones, I searched the internet as far as what's first gonna happen, so it's at least so far night and day. But maybe one day I could create like another Truth mixtape or revamp the review if there were ever more songs that leak out as far as what's first gonna happen. But at least so far it's a nice one. So I recommend both the two songs that are left over from Truth's old MySpace days as far as what's first gonna happen so far. So it gets a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason why it doesn't get a higher score is because there's just not enough more songs that I'd say. But so far the original song within the aspect that's not tied to another instrumental is pretty dope. So far it's like an in-between kind of typical evening after hours that I'd say here. Just gas station kind of run pitches like that. Get some goodies, Chex Mix, frozen burritos, some of that type fare. Good song for the munchies, pitches like that. It's just kind of a scuzzy type one. It's kind of a scuzzy kind of 4 o'clock p.m., 6 o'clock p.m. kind of dredge about just in the pitch, just kind of some extra time here and just an overall hot type one to get. So this is the concept. This probably could have been the format just in the pitch. I feel like Deuce kind of was particularly good at some of these type songs with circles and some of those type ones, and sometimes some of those type pitches that he particularly had. Deuce was actually pretty large in like the alternative rap rock type scene. He was getting charted in singles back in those days. He was like a real alternative staple like Jeffree Star and some of those type folks, to a certain extent blowing the dance floor and pitches, some of those type folks, just within some of those type of aspects that did big on like the hot topic, kind of the emo hot topic and kind of alternative type scene. But I think Truth was trying to cross over more into like the hip hop side of things, just trying to bring some of that particular light, because in certain senses Truth was a better rapper than Deuce. He kind of nailed that particular vibe. He was a good foil to Deuce, just because Deuce was more rap rock, kind of the aspect of continuing like some of the aspects of Hollywood Undead. But I think Truth was kind of bringing like the full bound kind of bars and rap type vibes towards it, as far as being like a lyricist within a certain sense. So it's a good type aspect. But this so far really feels just like an in-between type song, just kind of some moments of just not necessarily amidst like the commerce of the workship, but just kind of the pitch of just the after moments of just grabbing like grabbing like some crunchy tacos, or just like some combos, the food combos, or bugles, something like that, just an aspect as far as this first gonna have. So good type tone. And then Night and Day is a nice one. Now this never showed up on like a body of work, just makes me question how many projects Truth had going on, pitches like that. It's a good type fair secret kind of song here, just a good flip of Nelly Furtado's Say It Right, it had to say here, just a dredgy kind of soul and makeshift hustle song kind of get within those aspects. So it's just that glum type factor takes it right back to 2011, 2012 within some of those type pitches. Just a mixtape grind. Folks wanted to be rappers full bound within the pitch behind that. Just an excellent type fair as far as those pitch can have. So just good type one. Interesting switch, because you wouldn't think Say It Right would really feel like a hustle type song the way Nelly Furtado did it back in 2006. So it's kind of a more glum type song, just kind of a moody type song within the aspect as far as just kind of the depressive kind of factor things as far as this person can happen. But Truth turns it into like a pretty good hustler's anthem within a relative type pitch of just getting towards some money, but just kind of in a more jury kind of sense. So it's a good aspect. So yeah, this brief mixtape gets a 9.5 out of 10. The social score I would probably give like a 9.5 out of 10 as well. If there were more Truth songs floating around, I don't know how many full bound more he did back in the 2010 to 2012 era, but it's just kind of a good type pitch to be able to get some of these moments here, because I do think Truth was capable for the pitch behind what he particularly did. Truth actually did do like a handful of shows with Deuce between the era of when he briefly dropped 9lives, the album, in the spring of 2012 to about when he got arrested in the summer of 2012. I think the rollout for 9lives and the rest of these folk probably would have been pretty much a lot stronger had those particular affairs kind of happened. I just think it wasn't Truth's fault. It wasn't his full-bound Truth's fault within the pitch, just because it's kind of the caught up in this, but it just happened to be the concept that it just, the factoid behind it is the 9lives album, the 9lives group mixtapes, all that particular rollout that was going to particularly happen just kind of went up in smoke. It's very unfortunate, because a lot of this is pretty talented. I think most people are pretty much bitingly hungry for the aspect of what could have been, thinking about all the rollout that they had in like the early 2010s that just never got established as full-bound. It just feels very truncated within the aspects, kind of disappointing within that, but the music that is still available is very excellent. So it's just in the pitch. So 9.5 score just in the pitch. Just a brief taste of just be able to say this. I would definitely scoop out some of these songs just because the availability behind these is very slim. So it's just the aspect. Truth is very much like an uncommon gem in today's time. So I just would say the pitch behind it, folks need. I definitely think he deserves the recognition of what he originally did, and this is the fair of how potent a lyricist and musician he kind of was. That's the pitch behind it. So in terms of future, the unfortunate. Once again, to say about this social score, it does have like some good in-between type moments. This kind of hustle type grind within pitches. It's kind of hustle type grinding mentality as far as what's first going to happen. Just either after hours breeze of just picking up some snacks, and then the after effect of just like the grind and just hopping to it within the standard day type fare or evening type fare. It's just one pitch. But I look after just being able to say in terms of the future, the unfortunate thing is truth has since vanished and it's been gone for pretty much over a dozen years. Pretty much will probably never come back. But it's just an aspect as far as saying some good type moments. Just find these moments. If you do have further truth type songs, definitely I would say there's no reason not to make them available, because maybe folks can do more products like this. Just in the aspect, it's definitely worth it to assemble some of these, because the aspect of what he did was pretty potent. So it's just vicious things like that.